At dinner celebrating my promotion, my sister laughed. "You don't even deserve that raise. You've got no real responsibilities." Mom agreed. "She's right. That money should have gone to family." I said nothing. I just paid the check, went home, and disconnected every account they quietly depended on. By dawn, their cards stopped working, and my sister's frantic message sat unread on my screen. "Don't act like you earned it," my sister Haley snapped, pointing her fork at me. We were at a cheap Italian place, my so-called promotion dinner. You don't even have real responsibilities. You just sit behind a desk and pretend to matter. Mom leaned back, swirling her wine. "She's right, John. That money could have gone to the family. You know how your father's back is," Dad grunted without looking up from his phone. "Don't start another argument. You're always dramatic." The table was tense. The waiter stood awkwardly, holding the check like it was a live grenade. I didn't say a word. I just took it, slipped my card in, and smiled. Small, polite, controlled. But before I left, Haley muttered, "You think you're better than us, don't you?" I stopped, looked her straight in the eye, and said softly, "No, Haley. I just finally know what I am to you." Her laugh followed me out of the restaurant. By dawn, her debit card stopped working. "My name's John Mercer. I'm 27, the quiet one, the fixer, the one who always understands." I used to believe family meant loyalty, that if I kept my head down, worked hard, paid bills quietly, they'd see I wasn't a disappointment. But I learned something over the years. Silence doesn't buy love. It only rents peace. And rent always comes due. What they don't know is that every family expense they threw my way, utilities, insurance, debts, was under my name. I didn't do it out of pride. I did it because no one else would. And I've kept a truth locked away. Something about the night Dad nearly lost everything, something they don't remember. But I do. Family members introduced fast cuts, Haley, 25, loud, sharp-tongued, entitled, the kind of person who'd insult you, then hug you for appearances. Mom, Clara. Her tears were weapons. Always crying when called out, always just trying to keep peace. Dad, Robert, cold, practical. He called it discipline, but it was distance, and me, the one they blamed when things went wrong and forgot when things went right. At dinner, their behavior told the whole story. Dad barely looked at me. Mom sighed dramatically when I spoke. Haley interrupted every other sentence, turning my words into a punchline. And when I went silent, they acted like it was attitude. No one noticed I was studying them, like a man mapping a storm before it hits. A week later, Mom called. "Haley's car payment's due. Can you just cover it until next month?" "I thought you said I don't deserve my raise," I replied. Silence. Then the same old guilt. "Oh, John, don't make it about that. Family helps family." That sentence used to work on me. Not anymore. Later that night, I found the letter in my old drawer. The one from the bank, the mortgage renewal, under my name. Dad had transferred the loan years ago, claiming he'd handle it. So while they mocked me for being soft, my credit kept their roof from collapsing. I stared at that letter for a long time. They hadn't just used me. They built their comfort on my silence. And suddenly, I remembered the night that started it all. The next Sunday dinner was a show. Dad sat at the head like a judge, Mom hovered like a referee, and Haley, she was already recording for Instagram. Mom smiled. "John, you're not being fair. Your father works hard too." "Really?" I said. "Because the last payment on this house came from my account." The room froze. Dad's fork clattered. "What are you talking about?" Haley scoffed. "You're exaggerating again." I leaned back, calm. "I'm not. Check your bank logs. You've been living off my auto pay for 3 years. Mom's face went pale. Haley slammed her phone down. "You had no right to." "No right?" I said quietly. "No right to clean up your mess?" Dad stood up. "Watch your tone." "I've been watching it my whole life," I said. For once, the silence wasn't mine. It was winter. I was 21. Dad's business had collapsed. Mom was crying in the kitchen. Haley yelling at him about college tuition. No one saw me in the doorway, holding the letter that could save them. My scholarship refund. I walked in, placed the check on the counter, and said, "Use this." Dad didn't even look up. He just said, "Good. It's the least you can do." That moment carved something in me. It taught me that love in this house came with an invoice. Haley got her degree. Dad restarted his work. Mom called it a family miracle, but no one ever mentioned where the miracle came from. And when I needed help a year later, when I lost my apartment, they told me, "You'll figure it out." I did. Alone. "Stop acting like a victim," Haley said now. "You're not the only one who sacrificed." I smiled faintly. "Sacrifice? You mean the way you forged Mom's signature on that student loan?" Her jaw dropped. Mom gasped. "What?" Dad looked from her to me. "How do you know about that?" "I got the collection calls, Dad. Remember? They thought I was the co-signer." Haley's face went red. "You're lying." I reached into my pocket and pulled out a paper, a scanned document with her signature, my name. "Funny thing about forgery," I said. "Banks keep records." Mom covered her mouth. Dad sank into his chair. I looked at each of them. "You used my name, my credit, my silence. And I let you, because I thought family meant something." Then Dad whispered, almost broken, "You knew all this time?" "Yes," I said. And I was waiting for tonight. The house erupted. Haley screamed that I'd ruined her life. Mom cried that I was tearing the family apart. Dad told me to get out before you say something you regret. I stood there, steady. "You think this is about revenge? It's about accountability." I turned to Haley. "You used me because you knew I wouldn't fight back." Then to Mom. "You defended her because guilt is easier than truth." And finally to Dad. "You called me weak, but I'm the reason you still have this house." They all fell silent. Then I said the line that had been living in my chest for years. "I gave you all my silence. Tonight I give you the truth." I packed quietly. No yelling, no slamming doors, just the sound of drawers closing, like punctuation marks at the end of a long sentence. Mom stood by the doorway, tears streaking down her face. "John, please, don't leave like this. We're still family." I looked at her, gentle but firm. "No, Mom. We're just people who share a last name." Haley didn't look up. Dad didn't move. When I walked out, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Weightlessness. They might never understand, but that's okay. Forgiveness doesn't always mean returning. And for the first time, the silence felt like mine. Months later, I moved into a small apartment near the bay. Quiet mornings. Black coffee. Sometimes I catch myself scrolling through old photos. Birthdays, holidays, fake smiles. Then I remember the truth behind each picture. Who paid for the gifts? Who covered the rent? Who sat alone afterward? But I'm not bitter anymore, because healing isn't about forgetting. It's about finally choosing yourself. Haley texted once, "I'm sorry. I didn't know how much you did." I stared at it for a while, then replied, "Now you do." That was enough. Not closure, but peace. And peace, I learned, is the quietest kind of revenge. For the first time, I don't carry their weight anymore. If you were in my place, would you forgive them, or would you walk away forever? Tell me in the comments. Your story matters here. If John's silence, his strength, or his heartbreak touched you, hit like, share this, and subscribe for more stories that speak to the quiet survivors, the ones who give everything and still stand alone. Because sometimes, silence isn't weakness. It's the beginning of freedom.